We're back. Yes. Welcome to another episode of the Two Wayz podcast. Because why? Because there's more than one way to do anything. And we are your hosts. I am Yanaa.
Big Lex.
Big Lex in the motherfucking building. You already know what's up.
Come ride, she'll by my side. Come take a ride, a ride with me.
All right. So today,
take an extra to that. All right.
So today's going to be an interesting topic because I think that this is a topic that is buzzing all over social media and all over everything. Masculine women. We're going to talk about women in general, but more so honing in on masculine women.
Women that are, I don't know. Well, what's the definition of masculinity?
So the definition of masculinity, let's look it up really quick. Masculinity, having qualities or an appearance traditionally associated with men or boys. Masculine. Which, in my opinion, I don't think things should be gendered. Unless it's something that you can only do if you have a certain body part. You know what I mean? Like having children. Like, you can't physically have a child. Please, nobody kill me about this. But you can't physically have a child unless you have a uterus. Period. Like, a man can't carry a child. I'm not even saying like a trans man, because trans men can carry children. But I mean, they still have a uterus.
Right.
At the end of the day. Or, you know, dudes, you can only shoot sperm if you have.
You have sperm to shoot.
Right. Testicles. I just feel like those are the only things that should really be gendered. Oh, breastfeeding, right? You can't do that as a man. Trans men can breastfeed, I believe, but not a man. You know, so I think those are the only things that should be gendered or considered masculine or feminine. But I also just think the whole masculinity thing is taken out of context with Western society, because I believe that everybody has femininity and masculinity in them. I just think it's just
right. Which one you choose to use more?
Yeah, or which one you kind of show up as, because that's just kind of how it goes. But anyways, we might as well just start off with the clip that we saw. So
right,
we saw this clip on this other podcast, and I had it up. I don't know why I decided to
close it
out. Yeah. So there's a clip on this podcast that Lexi brought to my attention.
Attention.
She brought it to my attention. She brought it to my attention. So anyway, so this clip is coming from King Richez. I guess he has a podcast, and it was just a short clip. And I guess you guys can just watch it for yourselves, and it's a certain portion that we wanted to play.
Wow. You keep bringing up God, but biblically, women should not even be talking, saying they're boss. You know what I feel like, and I could be wrong. You can correct me.
I will if I need to.
I feel as though you've had to get it out the mud without protection and provision from a man.
Okay.
Your father.
Okay.
Was your father provided and protected and guided you and got you on your feet?
No, he didn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what we have to understand about a lot of young women, that's the compassion. That you've had to be this boss.
Yeah.
You've had to do this because you've had to take on masculine traits and even to survive, to eat sometimes. Yeah. And it's commendable that you didn't go to the streets selling your body.
Didn't need to do that.
Okay?
Yeah.
But a lot of young women don't judge them because of the situation they're
That's
in.
true.
And even some mothers influence
That's
it
true.
because their mothers are demons.
That's very true.
What I say is because I was raised with a father where I didn't have to do all of that. Because if I needed money, my parents paid for my tuition for, y'all call it university, college.
Okay. In America, yeah.
And I quit. I dropped out.
Okay.
Then I was able to, in my mind, do other things.
Okay.
If I want an apartment, my father pays for it. I have a car. I can not only take my parents' cars, but they will buy me a car.
Yeah.
I went to private school, tuition. That's a privilege. And what I realize a lot of times you have to take that on.
Yeah.
What you have to say now is what I want in life, what I want from a man, the man that you want,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because you're a woman who's a go-getter and all of that. He wants a soft woman. You never use that language of being a boss around a man. It doesn't impress them. It turns them off so bad that you would not believe.
It's repulsive.
You say, you know what?
It's
I had to.
Why is it repulsive?
Because they don't want to.
I don't want no. I don't want no.
Yeah. Let him. He's a man.
You're a man. So why is that?
Oh.
I have nothing to say. I mean, I get her opinion.
Okay. The light skinned lady.
What she started saying had nothing to do with her connection to her.
Yes. So let's just break it down a little bit, right? So the whole point of it is them saying that they don't want to, dudes don't want a man.
Oh,
I mean, man.
Dudes don't want a girl that considers herself to be a boss.
Okay, facts. And the first lady was starting off kind of describing how she grew up, right? Like that her dad and her parents just did everything for her, and she didn't really have to want for anything. Her dad pretty much provided. Right.
Which is a good dad.
The only reason I feel like she threw that in the mix is because of how people say, you know, like having your father in your life, or whatever role your father plays influences how you approach relationships with men. Right.
But that makes sense. Her dad did everything for her, so she doesn't look at herself as a boss.
Right.
And so therefore she doesn't use that term boss.
Right. And that's so flawed, because I feel like your dad can do a lot for you, and you can still be a boss. She just chose not to go that direction because, like she was saying, they paid for her whole tuition, which means she had an opportunity to go get an education free and to become whatever she liked.
Yeah. I mean, I don't see how that connects to her saying boss. Do you know what I'm saying?
It doesn't really connect. I think, like you said when we were talking about it earlier, I think that they're using that word out of context.
Right.
I think they, like you said earlier, what they mean is independent. Woman. And
but
they were completely using it out of context.
I think that her whole story has no connection to what the girl said. The girl with the blue hair said. She said that she's a boss. Mm-hmm. And then he said no man wants a woman that thinks she's a boss because he's a leader.
Right.
No two bosses are going to lead the same, which is correct.
Yeah.
But in a relationship, you don't want to be, for example, like COVID is a perfect example. When people lost their jobs, if your wife is a boss, she might not have lost her job. Right. But if your wife is dependent on you, now you both struggling.
Right. Now you both have no job. I also think, kind of what you said, like, in a relationship, let's cut out the leader, okay? Because a relationship is supposed to be a partnership. Let's start there.
I mean, I think nothing's going to be equal no matter if he's a leader or not, because at some point he's going to get sick.
Exactly, but it's push and pull. But that's why it's a partnership, because there's not a one person does everything all the time and the other person doesn't. And so I think that's kind of I think for him and his idea of what a relationship is, I think that's where his opinion comes from, that he doesn't want a boss. He said he wants someone who's submissive. Yeah, right. But you can be submissive and be a boss. So I definitely think that they were taken out of context.
They don't want someone who's truly independent.
Yes. But let me just say this. Independence does not mean that you do not need help. And I think that that's where people are flawed. Because, for example, my mom, she lost her mom at a young age. Her father was not in her life, you know. And I'd call my mom an independent woman today. I'd call her independent woman. I'd call her a boss. Does she necessarily like to be that way? No. She has to be. She has children. She's had to go to school. She's had to work and do the same things. Would she have loved for someone to help her out with that? Right. For sure. But there's a lot of men that are intimidated by all that she does for herself.
The guy said that. He said that, but I think that, okay, what if a woman in that same context, right? Boss, that's the word he keeps using, is boss. No man wants a boss. If a woman did the exact same thing, like your mom,
yeah,
right, but she just never called herself a boss, would he still be threatened? Yes. So it's not the word boss.
It's not the
word boss. It's the word, I don't want a woman who's completely independent.
And it's him. Because I see it this way. If you're an independent person, take woman, take man out of it. If you're an independent person, that means that what you do for yourself, you can do for me.
I mean, for a guy, if you say you don't want someone independent, that means you really want someone like young.
Yeah.
Because most
impressionable.
Women, most women, at least, once they leave home, they're like, that's a wrap. They're independent.
Right. I think it's about control for him and for men like that. I think it's that they want someone to control. They want someone to depend on them. They want someone to not be able to do things on their own, because the second that he does something that she doesn't like, she's going to say, you know what? I don't need you anyway.
Right.
I'm out. I'm not finna deal with this BS.
I think it's more hurtful maybe coming from a woman. Like, you're intimidated. You're saying that you should never use the word boss in front of a man, but
right.
So who bought your car? Your dad. So if a guy in that same context called her, well, you're just a baby.
Right.
I can't date you. You're a little girl.
You're a child.
She'd be insulted.
You are a child.
So it's either you're a little girl or you're a boss. There's no in between.
Yeah. But that's the thing too. And that's important that you said that about her, because she's obviously feeling that way because of how she wants men to feel about her.
Feel what?
I think the reason why she even said that to go against the other woman.
All the other women in the...
That's called a freaking pick me. I'm going to agree with all this stuff that this man has to say, and I'm going to shoot other women down.
A boss, I think, can do anything and everything independently of anyone else. To me, this is just my thing. She's saying that to, like, well, I'm in one category that had a dad. You're in a category that doesn't have a dad.
Right.
And that's why you call yourself a boss. So she doesn't call herself a boss.
Right. So let me ask you this. Do you think that being an independent woman or a boss makes you masculine in some way?
I don't think it makes you masculine. I think it makes you a stronger person.
Right.
If being stronger is considered masculine, then I guess so. But I think of, like, masculine as, like, figure. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. I think that a boss is, like, mentally stronger, physically stronger. She may not look like it, but she's able to take a lot of things.
Right.
Not I don't think of that as, like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
a something that you can't touch.
Right.
I think of, like, physical. Like, damn, she looked like a man.
Right.
Not like...
That's masculine. I think that the reason why the whole masculine and feminine terms are even something that people are using right now is because of, obviously, like, relationship roles and what they feel like people should play.
Right.
They feel like if a woman is feminine, she needs to cook, clean, have the babies, stay home.
Right.
And the man, and his masculine, he needs to go to work and make the money.
I think that in today's society, not that those roles shouldn't exist, but that they should be way more flexible, because now everybody knows what's going on. You know what I mean? Like,
yes. We
know that a woman can get a degree.
Right.
The same degree as a man, but he'll get hired before her.
Right.
So just knowing that when you're picking out a woman, well, she has a degree, but she's working at Walmart. Well, there might be a reason why she's working at Walmart.
Right.
Society all knows why some women aren't higher up than others.
Right. And half of that is because of men.
Just because of the way the world has went. We've let it go on for so long. Like,
right.
A good example is, like, I mean, people may not like this, but Hillary Clinton.
Right.
There was no reason why she shouldn't have been president, in my opinion.
Yes,
she had things happen, but, you know, going against who she was going against, she was the most, on paper, I'm not saying she was perfect. On paper, she was the most qualified to be president. Yet, the world
didn't see her
as equal. I don't believe she lost because those emails she lost simply because she was a woman. Because if it was a man with secret emails and all this stuff, he would have at least been in the race.
How many scandals was there against Trump?
Yeah,
alone. A lot of his stuff was documented on TV. He used to fucking do.
If we take out
Crazy.
take out the emails, on paper, just look at them on paper. We don't know any of them. I knew Hillary Clinton because of Bill Clinton. That's
right.
it. I didn't know anything else about the emails. Just looking on paper, Clinton versus Trump. Mm-hmm. She won, hands down. But the world was like, "Oh shit, hell no, she's not going to go into office,"
because they don't believe that women are capable of doing roles like that, which is crazy to me. Because if you really think about how a household works, and right. you really think about what men try to do in a masculine sense, what is it that, and this is not even me trying to be mean, what is it that y'all are trying to lead? Because from all these situations that I've seen of the gender roles and everything, women do pretty much everything except make the money.
Right.
Of what dudes say. So what is it that the man is leading or doing? Because if the woman is taking care of home, she's taking care of house and home and feeding the kids and doing all this, it seems to me like she's doing right. most of the work. She's the one that kind of has it all together. She's coordinating schedules. She's getting everybody to school on time.
Right.
She's picking everybody up. She's making sure that you got your dinner. She's making sure that you got your clothes is washed. She's making sure this, and this. And all you're doing is going to work.
But
and coming home.
Me and my dad made a point. Like, he said, I said, well, why don't women get treated as equal? And he said, well, it's always going to be like that until a man decides to change it.
Wow.
And as well, I have a point. And he was like, well, think of it like this. There's never been a president that wasn't married.
Yeah, that's a fact.
And he said, why do you think that is? It's because someone has to push them.
Right.
They have best friends.
Mm-hmm.
You've never seen a president that's single that has a best friend that pushed them. Their best friend is not going to push them more than their wife.
Come on. The wife is the household. Like, come on now.
Without the woman in most households, and even though we have, gay and lesbian households, someone plays that woman role.
Right. But I also think, like you said, like gay and lesbian households, I also think that that's an example of why gender roles are not a thing. Why feminine and masculinity has nothing to do with what it is that they're making it seem like.
I still think because of that is why women, the boss thing, because of lesbian and gay, that's why it's so hard to be like, oh, I don't want a boss woman, because I think like because of them, it's kind of like irrelevant. A boss is irrelevant because if two men are married and they're in a house and you say, oh, well, he's a boss, it doesn't have the same equal as if a woman says it?
No, they just call it different now. They call them, there's the bottom and the top.
Oh, I was just...
But I don't know if that's only sexual, you guys. So don't quote me on that. And I don't want to see nobody talking about I be discriminated, because I am a part of the community. You know what I'm saying? Don't play me. But no, I agree, Lex. I just think the way that people look at relationships is crazy. And I'm not even talking about just romantic.
Right.
I think period. I think that's why we don't have community like we should.
Right.
Because everybody plays a role. I don't think that there's one role that's more important than the other. I think men are better at a lot of things. I'm not going to say that they're not. Men think differently than women. Women are a little bit more nurturing. They are. I'm not saying that they're better than women. I'm just saying there's things that they can do that I don't think women can think like. Like, we're nurturers. In a sense, I'm serious. But I don't mean it as like we couldn't be that. But like, I'm gonna give you an example, and people are probably gonna get upset with me about this. But it's this thing that goes around on social media where people are like, where women are like, well, yeah, we have a hard time having casual sex, or some women that believe that they can have casual sex. And if you believe that you can, that's awesome. But I do think that a lot of the times with us women, there's a lot of things that we relate to emotion that men don't.
Right. And
that's just how we're wired, because we are nurturers by anatomy, you know what I mean? By nature. So I think women can have casual sex. I think it could be something that they could be like, oh yeah, I'm going to go do what I want to do. But are they not as connected? Are they not having the feelings like men can just go and kind of do whatever and not feel any type of way about that person? I doubt it. I highly doubt that. You may not like that man or want to marry that man, but you got feelings if you are doing that. And that's just what I believe. Don't shoot the messenger.
Good good point.
But I'm just saying, like, I think that we're wired differently for a reason, and it's not because one person's supposed to be the leader or not. It's because we're supposed to be together.
Right.
As one.
As a whole.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that in a relationship, you just have to create your own. Because if you two, first of all, social media kills that. Relationships, like as soon as people put their relationship on it, social media, it kills it. Mm-hmm. Because you have an understanding, we have an understanding of what our relationship is. And as soon as Jill and John start talking about our relationship, all hell starts breaking. Like, well, you didn't make me breakfast like the other women.
Right. Now we have a problem.
Now we have a problem. It's I think it's an understanding of your relationship and what you guys want, right? My parents, my dad cooks, and people thought that was so weird that, like, when I was in high school, they used to be like, "Oh, your mom cooks dinner?" I'm like, "My mom cooks what?"
And your parents have been married for a long time.
40 years. Just turned 40 years. But they be like, my dad cooks. Yeah. He complains, but he cooks. Mm-hmm. And my mom cooks on Sundays. That's something
a damn good cook, too.
When he wants to be. People complain. I remember at basketball practice, they used to complain, like, why doesn't your mom cook? I'd be like, well, she does, but it's switched. With my brother, my mom cooked. Yeah. Then with me, my dad cooked, and my mom cooks on Sundays. Mm-hmm. And reversed, when my brother was younger, my dad cooked on Sundays. So as you get older, I think that your relationship changes, but it still fits for you guys. Once you guys have an understanding of, like, I ain't cooking every day, I ain't doing, then okay, it's either you adjust to it or you don't. Like, I think that we take too much of the public's input. Like, I don't give a damn what Jack and Jill say.
Amen. A motherfucking man. Amen, amen, amen. But I don't understand why people assign genders to tasks anyway.
Because that's the way it always is.
But chef is a masculine term.
Yeah, and you're starting to see a lot more women chef.
Right?
But
women are the ones that they try to make it, you're the ones that's supposed to be in the kitchen cooking all the time. But there's most of the chefs that I see, especially famous chefs, are men. Yeah. So that means men cook. And I hate that question. I remember getting asked that question so many times on during dating. And I think there was a point where I felt like in order for me to get a good man, I had to cook.
I don't cook. I survive. Okay.
Yeah, I feel you. And that's how I am now. With my ex, I had showed up in that relationship as like, oh yeah, like I cook, I clean, but I got tired of that. Not that I don't clean, but I mean, like, as far as doing the type of housewife thing, that's just not me. And it's not that I don't like to do it or I don't want to do it, but it's different when it's your space and when it's a shared space with somebody and they're not pulling their half.
Do you think that women have settled for that? Like, do you think we teach young girls to cook and clean so in the future they will find a man for that?
Absolutely. I don't. My sisters cook because they eat. Let's get that straight. My son cooks because he eats. Okay, we don't have that in our house. But I think that's a lot, and not just us though, because there's outside influences. You know what I mean, like teachers, just people that they meet in the outside world, uncles, aunties, whoever. That's like, oh girl, you need to cook. Or as soon as a little girl cooks something and it's good, oh, you gonna make a man happy one day. Right. You know what I'm saying? Or like the saying, a way to a man's heart is through his stomach.
True.
That was the whole thing. So is the way to a woman's. Let's be real.
I'm just saying. If you
let's be real. Come on now. Yeah, and I don't understand that. But like I was saying, I showed up in that past relationship as somebody who did all those things, and it made me miserable because I wasn't who I really was, and I didn't do it to try to get him. It was more so like, oh, this is the role that I think I need to play because this is a man who's making a little bit of money. He had his own house. You know what I'm saying? He was doing his own thing. He had cars. He was letting me drive them. And to me, that was new. To me, it was like, wow, like I haven't really been with someone that is this active with his children and who's doing this. And so that's what I showed up as. But that got tiring because it was like, I'm not finna do this for you and your children and you not pulling your weight. And you thinking the only thing you finna do is come home from work and go to sleep.
Right.
While I'm up here doing all this stuff for, you know what I mean? And we wasn't even together for that long, so that was my own thing. But now, in the relationship that I'm in now, I told him from the jump, don't expect me to be cooking all the time. There are times when, yes, I do cook. But if you think
I don't know.
That you are getting somebody that's going to be laying it down country meal every night, that ain't me, buddy. So you can move it along. That's just it.
She said country meal.
You know, and y'all know what I mean too. Like, I'm not the one making the waffles, the bacon, the eggs, and all the potatoes and all that on Sundays every Sunday, and making some type of no. I'm not going to be in the kitchen for 2-3 hours making dinner, especially if I'm working. It's not going to work. You know what I'm saying? I mean, not for me. For somebody else, it might. People that enjoy it, it might work.
I think that the roles are just. It should be flexible. It should be more flexible. Because we've changed, as a human race, we've changed so much.
Right.
So stuff that maybe was okay back then is not, women didn't work. So, yeah, it was okay for them to stay at home and cook and clean. But now that they do,
right,
I don't think that they should always have to cook and clean.
No.
Or always have to take care of the kids. I believe at the beginning, your first month, if you agreed to something, that doesn't mean in 2 months or in 6 months it can't change.
Right. But that's the thing. Men are so rigid in that way sometimes.
Are they? Or they're just I think that us as society has made that bad. Like,
yeah,
just the way parents treat daughters versus sons.
Yeah.
It starts when you're young.
Yeah. But I think it's a big thing. And I think specifically in Black women, I think that we have been seen as masculine,
right,
for so long, and now it's at the point of where we are that in a way,
right.
And if we're just going off of what they said, like traits that are associated with men, like my mom's real hard body, right. She's not someone that's gonna hug me every day.
I don't blame it.
But they say that that's a feminine thing.
Hugs?
Yeah, like it, because women are nurturers. I do think a lot of the way that we dress is what people see. Yeah, because I mean, like, you remember Elijah asked you the other day.
Yeah, I dress for comfort, not for fashion.
For context, my son. So Elijah's my son. Elijah doesn't have an idea of what he feels like things are. He just goes off what he sees. You know what I mean? So he's like, I would wear those shorts. Those are boy shorts.
Right.
He'll tell me, like, these jeans are girl jeans. I'm like, no, they're not. they're just jeans.
Right.
But to him, he's so like black and white. But like, my son asked her, like, Lexi, why do you wear boy clothes? Lexi's like, I just dress what makes me comfortable.
This is comfort.
But that's what he's gonna know. He's gonna learn that dressing comfortable is okay. He's not gonna think that women wearing boy clothes is gonna mean that they're a boy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So do you think that people think that you're masculine?
Yeah.
Do you think that you're masculine?
No. I think that I've just kind of like, well, whatever. I don't really care anymore.
Okay,
I'm
so
past that point.
What about past appearance? So, like, kind of what they were talking about in that video. Take out appearance in the way that you move through the world. Do you feel like you're masculine? Do you feel like you're more of a leader than a supporter? Do you feel like you're more of a... I feel like
I'm both.
Yeah.
I feel like there's times where I've had to take charge and be like, no, you can't do this. No, I have to do this. But I feel like when I go and pick my nephew up from school, I don't feel like everyone looks at me like I'm his mom.
And this is another thing, too, with, like, masculinity. Right. Because I think me, even my appearance, like, what I'm wearing now, people will be like, oh, you're pretty feminine. I think I have a lot of masculine traits in that way, of the way that I act. Right. I'm very defensive a lot of the time with things. I argue a lot.
Okay, yes.
You know, I wouldn't say I fight unless necessary, if I feel like I'm being put in danger.
Right.
But I am one of those people that if I see somebody that I care about that's being put in danger, I'm going to go protect them. Right. I'm more of a protector, provider.
Is that masculine, or is that like, because I feel like masculinity has changed.
Yeah.
Like, you said you would get into a fight if you see your loved one get into a fight. We can go down the street and ask people that, and they would all say if my sister got into a fight, yeah, I would.
But they think of that as like a protector, like what he said in that video when he was like, so if something's going on down the street, if something happens down the street, who you think's going to do it, me or you? You know what I mean? Because dudes see that as they are the protectors. So if something happens,
I believe that
they want to protect
a guy should. If you're with a guy, he should protect you.
That would be me, though.
If I'm not with you, am I supposed to be like, Johnny?
I've been in relationships where I've been the one to protect. I've been in relationships where I've been the one to provide, and the man has done nothing but sit on his ass and sit on his phone that I paid for.
But I just don't understand. Like, you can be a protector, but you can only protect so much. So having a woman who is also a protector when you do decide to have children, that is going to work out in your child's best interest. Because, hey, when he's with mom, I don't have to worry about him because his mom was crazy.
His mom got him. In unpopular opinion, protection from women does come from nurturing. I think it just looks different if you grew up in a different environment. Right. Because me wanting to protect my son, protect my sister, protect my brother, protect my friend is because I love them. Right. And I'm nurturing and I care about them in that way. But a lot of people don't see it that way. They see it as you're an aggressive woman. Right. And you're acting like a dude. Right. Because how dare you come up in my face? How dare you go up in that person's face and say this? How dare you act like that?
It's just perspective.
Yeah.
Because if a guy, if he says he's a protector, for example, like he said in the video, he said he was a protector, and then you get your ass beat.
Then what?
I don't know. Do you still consider yourself a protector after that? Can I really trust? Like, if I've put my soul life into you being the protector, and you just showed me you got your ass beat, I don't really think you can hold that title anymore.
There ain't no motherfucking dinosaurs running around the motherfucking country, so I don't understand what the fuck men feel like they really need to protect us from other than other men. Right. You know what I'm saying? Because you're not going to put your hands on a woman. So
you would hope
what are you really So what are you really doing? And a lot of times though, I've seen a lot of men that claim that they're masculine that only really buck up towards women. Right. They don't do the same thing when it comes to other men. The dudes that have that alpha personality.
Then that's not a masculine man.
No.
That's a feminine man.
It's a feminine man. But see, that's the thing of like, but they'll say that they're the ones that are the most masculine. And they're the ones that complain about why women don't listen to them, why women don't submit to them.
I don't think, first of all, the Bible says you should submit to a godly man.
Right. Oh, tell him. Tell him, Lex.
That's in the Bible.
Tell him.
It says to a godly man.
Tell him.
So the submissive, I think you can only follow someone's lead. You're only supposed to follow the lead of a godly man. So that's someone's not reading that correctly.
Right. To further on your point though, all relationships are supposed to be, you're supposed to be connected by your faith.
Correct.
Whether you're, and I don't know, I'm not Christian. And so, Lex, you're not Christian, are you? You consider yourself to be Christian?
I consider myself to believe in a higher power called God.
Same. But I'm saying, like, if we go off of that, relationships are supposed to be to where you get your wisdom and you take from God. So you guys are together, but God is the number one in your relationship, period. So if you don't even have that, like you said, to submit to a godly man, if you don't even have that, what am I submitting to? What is your faith? What are your beliefs? Let's start there. So men want to lead and they want women to submit and not be masculine, but they're not leading us towards nothing but trouble.
Right. I believe you. I would not. I would personally not. But I do believe you can submit to a man who may not have a godly faith.
Right.
As long as that faith is with good intent.
Right. Right. I think my boyfriend's like that.
I don't think you have to believe in God. I do think you should believe in something. Right. That when you leave here, something is going to happen to you. Right. Right. But it doesn't necessarily have to be God. It could be Buddha, whoever you believe in. Right. But as long as that person's going to come first in my life, whether you're in it or not. Right. If you can agree to that, then it's okay to be submissive to someone who's not thinking himself as God. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. I think too that people, as far as like masculine and feminine, I think women, being one myself, I think the way that I present myself is all about what the dude brings out of me. You know, and I'm not saying that I'm matching energy. But I'm saying if you're a man that is aggressive towards me, I'm going to be aggressive. Okay. If you're a man that talks to me like I'm less than, I'm going to do the same. I'm going to try to protect myself. All right. So with me protecting myself, that might come off as like, oh, you're not submissive. But if you're calling me out of my name and that's the way that you're trying to get me to submit, or you're telling me what to do like you're my freaking dad, right, or something like that, that is not going to make me want to listen to you. But if you come at me with love, right, you come at me with care and you ask me what is it that I want and you care about my hopes and my dreams rather than your big picture, I will definitely act differently. And I will be more likely to submit to you because it's not just about you. Right. It's about me, you, the family that we might create in the future. It's not just about what you want from me. Right. You know, I
think that we just have, I don't think boss circling her back around. Right. I don't think boss is a bad word.
It's not.
I don't think it should. I think that in that particular video that it might have been used out of context.
Right.
And they meant independent.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that's more of what she's describing.
Right.
Someone who moves on her own accord, who doesn't follow suit of anyone, which to many is the definition of a boss. But I think maybe there's some translation loss in what the word boss means.
Right. And if you see that as a masculine woman, that's you.
I think that
that's
maybe,
not anyone else.
Maybe just because she's masculine now doesn't mean she'll be masculine when you decide to date or be together.
Right.
Because I think a lot of women, they have to be masculine because I don't take it as masculine, but they have to act tougher because they are by themselves in a world full of men, right? But we'll just call them wolves, right? If she's getting hollered at 50 times a day, yeah, she's gonna have a masculine approach. She probably is wearing sweatpants all the time because she don't want you niggas talking to her.
Right.
So
I think you're right. Yeah. So pretty much, we don't feel like being a boss is anything wrong. I don't know what men think, but
I think that
whatever.
Being a boss is a good thing, and if it's considered too manly, then he ain't the man.
He ain't the one. And on that note, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Tell us what you think. Do you think that you're not attracted to boss women or independent women, or does it matter? What's the thing with masculine women? Women, tell us. Do you feel like you're masculine? Do you feel like you've been painted as masculine? Let us know. Like I said, like, comment, subscribe, and join us for the next episode of the Two Ways podcast, because there's more than one way to do anything.